Right, if everything is working as I'm hoping it's working, we should be live. So, good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and Xenos of all ages, and welcome to another Tactica Imperialis live stream, starting off June with hopefully a bit of a nice Sunday stream. We've got a bit of news from pre-orders from AoS 2, lots and lots of lovely little things we can talk about, and all of that fun stuff. So, I hope everything goes to plan. We don't have any more technical difficulties. One day we'll have no technical difficulties. Maybe one day. We'll see. Well, I hope so. So yeah, hope everything's working fine. Just let me know if there's any issues on your end with sound or with the visuals. I'll do what I can, but there's not much I can do. And yeah, so that's everything. Just let people get here, put out announcements in all the right places. Should be working as intended. Started a couple of minutes early, whereas it's not quite 8 o'clock yet, but close enough. So yes, in the news this very fine week, we have the Imperial Knights have gone up on pre-order. So the two baby warlords, the Valiant and the Castellans, are separate kits, I believe. The Armature Warglaives, who have actually been buffed quite heavily in the new codex, their chainswords have had a big boost. Have also gone on pre-order, I believe, separately, and Forgebane is knocking about as well, but you can get them there. I think they also said in a pre-order article that Sir Hector is going to be out in a bit, so when the Knight Precept and all the other like Questoris Knight main kit gets redone, Hector will be worked into there. He didn't say when that will be released, so that might be next week, it might be some other time, we shall see. Yeah, it's all going well, thank you. Got some good video stuff done this week, so back up to a nice little buffer state with lore. So I'm now almost 3 lore scripts ahead, which is a great place to be. I'm really just happy to be back working ahead of schedule because I hate running tight for time. Still getting a bit of an exam-based run around. So the results have been published for exams, but I can't get mine right now. It's all a bit confusing. I'll spare you the details, but long and short of it, I can't get my results yet, even though everyone else has had them for like the best part of a week. It's a bit frustrating, but generally can't complain at all. Winding down now, so I know when I can get out of here. Hopefully going to try and get a game next week in preparation for just a battle report before I send off AoS 1. Then I'll probably do my final thoughts on AoS 1. I'll do that for a video, and yeah, I think that's sort of a plan. We'll just work with that and keep going with lore. Champions of Humanity is going really, really well, and all that stuff. So yeah, I really can't complain. Well, I can complain, like the fact that half the kitchen doesn't work, but hey, details. Yeah. Have you seen the pure murder that is the Helverins? I might have missed that actually. Yeah, it does kind of suck because there's two. The main problem is the resets are in about two or 3 weeks, and I know about them. I know when the dates are. I know which are what's when and where, but I don't know which ones I need to be preparing for because I don't know if I passed or failed. And when I say failed, I mean I got less than 50%. The failure state here is a lot harsher, and the failure rate is atrocious. AoS lore videos. Aha! I've said before, several times, AoS lore is something I enjoy, but I don't have the time to make a lore series on Age of Sigmar. I just don't. Doing 40k stories once a week is quite time consuming. Like, you don't see what goes into making 40k stories, of course you don't, because you're not making the video. But it's about 6 to 8 hours work goes into making every single lore video, between research and write-ups and recording and retakes and editing. It takes a lot of time. It's about, I average it about 6 to 8 hours unless it's a particularly massive one like the old Legions miniseries, and I don't have the time to commit to doing that twice. Plus a lot more of the lore would be based out of just what's in the battle tomes, just reworded, because there's a bit less available in terms of named characters, in terms of battle, just how I sort of like to put my lore videos together. if you do want some AoS lore, I can recommend 2+ Tough. That's a good channel for it and someone who I'm hoping to work with going forward. He does really good AoS lore, so that's probably a good start. But as for me doing AoS lore, as far as the channel doing AoS lore, there may well be AoS lore on the channel one day, but it won't be me who makes it. It'll be one of the other people I work with as part of my friendship group and my gaming group will be the team who would make those videos, if we ever do it, because I just don't have the time to double my lore output. I just don't. Apologies. Full Night Codex can be found in the GW review copies. Yeah, I haven't watched those. 4d3 shots, Strength 7, AP 1, 3 damage, BS 3+, move and shoot without penalty 170 per what the flip. As said, damn. Damn indeed. Whew. Okay. I sincerely hope their flimsy is all sin. I sincerely hope their flimsy is sin, because that damage output, whilst I need to compare it to some other units, seems pretty insane. They better not have an invulnerable save. At the bare minimum, they better not have an invulnerable save. Like, 8 wounds at a 3-up is probably as kind as you can be to them. Like, I'm thinking 8... I forget what the Armiger's Warglave's stats are, but like 8 wounds and a 3-up is about as kind as you can be to them for that cost. Because, gee whiz. Oh, by the way, is that 170 points including war gear or without war gear? Just for clarification. 12 wounds, 3+ save. So, okay, so that's Riptide's defense. Yeah, that's Riptide level... I don't know what I forget their toughness right now, but yeah. So chapters only allowed to have 1,000 battle brothers in the old codex, yes. So when Primaris were introduced, the other chapters were forced to have Primaris weapons when a chapter was 1,000, so they had to... No. The Codex Imperialis, which sort of replaces the Codex Astartes that Gilliman is working on, I think it sort of is starting to bend the rules about that. I don't know all the details in all truth, but I think they've Gilliman's reworking the Codex so as it's not that limiting anymore. I don't know. 7 points-ish with war gear. No invuln unless your Dominus gives it one. Good. Right. Yeah, they're going to be good value. I'm not going to say they're busted, but they seem like pretty good value to me. They seem like good value. I can't say insane value because I don't know. I can't say not enough value, but they seem good to me on paper. But that's just paper. That's just math hammer. And it may be that they never get in range, or it may be that they just get sniped off immediately. If they're that powerful, they'll just be sniped off immediately because they can be killed. I mean, having the defensive stats of a Riptide is kind of a bit much, because a Riptide... Like, how much is a Riptide? Hang on. I'm going to go and look this up, because I don't have the new Tau Codex. I'm going to go and look this up. How much is a Riptide? Just a basic one. Right. Check for new data. Yes, I do need new data because there's been a new codex. Also, if your 3 super heavy attachment skins an Armiger or a Helper and it gives no CP. Okay. That's interesting. I mean, it stops you just scum spamming them for loads of CP, I guess. That's interesting that they ask you to try and fill out these attachments and then don't reward you for doing so. Well, I mean, they do reward you because I think you get access to like the traits and stuff. It's like the traits and relics and stuff. But that's interesting. You know, that's a very interesting way of working it. Okay. Successfully updated. Good. Do I have a tile list here? I do have a tile list here. Beautiful. Loading data files. Right, yeah, of course, that came up before the codex. Right. Give me a second. I'm just going to build myself a quick Tau army. Eldari Tau, version 24. Unbound, don't give it. I just like to. I would just like to build my roster, please. Okay, Elite, XV104. So, a basic Riptide with the heavy burst cannon and 2 smart missile systems, so probably not the best variant. Actually, the cheapest variant. Let's get the cheapest variant in here. Let's get the cheapest variant. Okay, so the cheapest I can make a Riptide, assuming Battle Scribe is still up to date. I'm going off the Battle Scribe app here. Is 242. And that thing's datasheet. I'm actually gonna see if I can find its datasheet. Datasheet. Can you get this thing's datasheet? I thought you could get datasheets in here. Maybe it's a bit out of date. View. Aha, there we go. And that's toughness 7, 14 wounds, a 2+. Okay, maybe comparing it to a Riptide was an unfair comparison. What's a big monster thingy with a 3-up save? What's a decent size? Okay, let's try a Carnifex. In fact, let's try a Carnifex. So let's delete you, because I don't care. I've done my thing with you now. So, bye. So let's try that again. And let's compare it. No, let's compare it to. Should we compare it to a Carnifex? Yeah, let's compare it to a Carnifex. That feels like we're on about the right power level. No. Wraithlord? A Wraithlord would be fair? Comparable to a Ghost Keel. Alright, Ghost Keel. That's actually no. A Ghost Keel's got all its stealth systems, so it's a really different ball game. So let's go for Carnifex. Unbound because I don't care. Heavy support. Carnifex. So let's give it Carnifex 2 guns. Let's give it guns. For the sake of fairness, let's give it 2 Devourers with Brain Leech Worms because we can. Deselect that. What? Let's have 1 more selections from arm weapons. Oh god, this is the problem when you don't play Tyranids. You don't understand it. Okay, so that's what I would consider like a classic basic DAC effects. 8 wounds, 3-up save, 90 something points, and far less damage. I don't know. I don't know if that is comparable and fair, because I don't know enough to be able to say what's a good fair comparison. But okay. Annoying for pure Knights makes the Hellruns less superable. That's true. No soup. Yeah, it's hard for me to compare because like, the Ghost Keel's really stealthy and the Carnifex is a lot cheaper because it's far less damage output. And about 50% less, well, 33% less wounds. But hey, I was trying to get a bit of a grasp of what that sort of unit would cost in other armies. But yeah, I haven't played 40k in so long, I'm really flipping rusty. Sorry. Oy. Okay, good, that seems fine. Anyway, now we've had that little distraction. It was actually a distraction Carnifex. Now we've had that little distraction. Let's get on with the stream, I think. So we got an article today for AoS. I'll just carry on with some news because we've had a bit of a night discussion now. In terms of AoS 2, we actually had a nice little house cleaning article. Is how I'd like to describe it, a bit of a housekeeping thing. Soul Grinder, total 7, 14 wounds, 3-up save, 235. Oof. Try that forward chat with. Oh, I'm glad to hear it. I'm glad that worked. I mean, I personally have a real disdain for the Brass Stampede just because Kieran's run me over with it too many times to mention, and it's horrible. The main reason I hate it is just like, oh yeah, here's a massive charge boost on Juggernauts. Oh, and also because they're a battalion and you're an army that doesn't have battalions yet, because this was back before I was playing Stormcast, and my Stormcast don't really have any battalions either. Yeah, I just got double turned on 2 and lost all the time. It was really not pleasant. But I'm glad that it's worked out for you. That's glad to hear. Yeah, I mean, I don't know what the Soul Grinder's damage output is. I mean, it's got melee options as well as range options, like between the Harvester Cannon and the Big Claw or the Maw Gun. I'm pretty sure that the Soul Grinder can do a lot, and it's probably faster and has its Demon Save and can be marked for whatever difference that makes. So that's interesting. I'm just so out of the loop with 40k at the minute. I'm not going to say I'm out of love with 40k. I'm just out of the loop, and it's a bit frustrating. You're going to play a game of AoS? Excellent. Excellent. I'm glad to hear that, because, well, I know that sometimes getting your first games can be a bit tricky to do. Like, oh god, I really want to play a game before I leave France. I really need to play it before AoS 2 comes out. I need to make a send-off back rep for AoS 1. But hey, that's something I need to work on. Redemptor? I've never faced the Primaris, pretty much ever. I've certainly never faced the Redemptor Dread, so I have no idea what that thing looks like. Let me have a look. I might as well go and have a dig. Imperium. Space Marines. Unbound, because I don't care right now. Is it heavy? No, it's an elite then. Redemptor Dreadnought, bingo. Redemptor Dreadnought, 13 wounds, 3+ save. Starts with... Actually, hang on, have I given this thing guns? Has this thing got guns? Yes. What about its Macroplasma Incinerator? Let's make it cheaper. Weapon option 2, Onslaught Gatling Cannon, slightly cheaper. Weapon option 3, Storm Bolters, that's cheaper. So a Redemptor Dread at bare minimum is 191. And that is... Oh, Christ. So let me view the bloody data sheet, please. And that's toughness 7, 13 wounds, a 3-up save. It's got an overchargeable plasma gun with D6 plasma cannon with D6 shots, which is not bad. It's not damage 3, but it's decent. It's got a decent melee weapon, a bit of a rapid fire gun, and a couple of storm bolters. Okay, Redemptor Dread might be a good comparison point for these things. That might be a good thing to compare to. Let's compare it with that going forward. Anyway, I'm just going to delete that list now. Are we getting the Orc Codex before the Wolves or after? We don't know, I think. Oh, yeah, because that happened, wasn't there? There was the UK Games Expo that happened this week, and we got the announcement of 2 new codices. Space Wolves, that nobody cares about. Well, I know some people who care about, but I'm not one of them. And the Orcs. Not going to do a while live on stream, but you get my point. Orcs. Orcs, 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 orcs. Yes, yes, I think so. I bloody well hope so. Oh, yes. Customary orc thing related to Total Biscuit. Needed doing. Yeah. Scarbrand in a Slaanesh army. Read that statement again, then compute why it's not very lore-friendly. I'm not going to say wrong, but lore-unfriendly. It's a very lore-unfriendly statement to put Scarbrand in a Slaanesh army. Skulltaker, stuff against demons of Tzeentch who run over everyone. Yeah, Tzeentch will probably run you over. Also got the 3-year riders, excellent. Thank you. Somebody did the war for me. But yes, I'm really looking, like, I have not been hyped for 40k for ages. I really haven't. Like, I came out here, I was doing my Age of Sigmar, and I got really carried away with AoS, and then we got the announcement of the Tau Codex, and I had a read of the Tau Codex, and it seemed like the Tau was still kind of meh, and they had some flavorful stuff, but there was nothing that made me go, I need to get more stuff for my Tau as soon as I get home. That just hasn't happened for me this year with 40k. So now with the Orcs, I'm like, I really want the Orcs to be able to do something that doesn't involve just choking out the board. But hey. This guy when he broke the webway seal into BL Tarn. Yes? I think? I can't remember. I think so. Space Wolves are very hyped too. Some of the Marine decks have been janky. Seem to have got it right with Blood Ends, but maybe Space Wolves will be even better. We'll see. I think it'll be fun. I don't particularly care for Space Wolves, but I do want to know their new lore situation, how they're working with Primaris, etc, etc, etc. That's not quite my intro anymore. That's the intro I had for quite a while, but I've actually slightly reworked the intro now since about Christmas, so close, but not 100%. When found my Celestial Demons are with demons for another god. Well, Slaanesh demons, at least, I'm better off talking about Age of Sigmar here. Slaaneshi demons in Age of Sigmar are stupid fast. Stupid fast. But they are flimsy as sin, and not very versatile as a result. Like, they pretty much play one way, which is stupid fast assault. So you might want to go Nurgle, which will give you some resilience, give you some objective holders, some nice tanky units, a bit of variant magic. Or you want to go Tzeentch, which will give you ridiculous magic and some shooting, although some of that hopefully gets nerfed in AoS 2. Going with Khorne, I mean, you're doing speedy combat versus not so speedy combat, but your not so speedy combat hits a bit harder. So it's, I don't know, I think Nurgle would be the best one to go with, just because I have a bias against AoS Tzeentch and Khorne is lore unfriendly. But yeah. New Gazkul macro with Thraka model. I'd like to see a new Gazkul model. I don't think it's absolutely 1,000,000% essential, but I'd like it. If they're gonna make him this monster in the lore, if they're gonna make him this utter monster that's sacking entire watch fortresses, that's the Deathwatch Codex, by the way. If they want to make him like that, then maybe buffing his model up and making it bigger and more awe-inspiring would be good. Plus it would allow us to do a plastic or Warboss kit with a variant build as Gazkul, a la the Lord of Change being built as Kairos, or the Great Ugly One being built as Roticus. The Orc Warboss kit can now be built as Gazkul. I think that we need a Warboss and Mega Army kit anyway, so working in a bigger Warboss and Mega Army that can be then built as Gazkul would work for me. My new project will not be Orcs. I'm doing another Age of Sigmar project with AoS 2. I can work off the hype of AoS 2 that I personally have and the community hopefully has. I'm doing an AoS 2 project. That's happening. Maybe next semester in January I might go back and just top up my Orcs, but that's the thing with 40k at the minute. I just want to top my armies up and add a new spin on them. I don't want to start a new one. So that's my sort of thing. I say Nurgle or Khorne just cover weaknesses or double down on smashing. Yeah, Nurgle covers your main weakness. Khorne just gives you more melee power. Yeah, you probably would remember it better than me. I mean, I did the Inari video, but that was... Oh god, how long ago was the Inari video now? That was several months ago I did the Inari video. And I haven't really looked into that section of those chain of events again. Like, I've looked at that chain of events quite a lot recently. With obviously doing Marnius Calgar and doing, well, some other stuff, some of which you've seen, some of which you haven't yet. I've looked into that sort of series of events around the Gathering Storm a lot, but I haven't looked at the Fractured BL Tarn in a few months, so yeah, you probably would remember better than me. And do Brazen Host. Nothing stopping you. War o'clock. 20 past 8. Oh, Marnius, yeah. Marnius Calgar's lore, I hadn't looked into it all that hard until I did his lore video. So like looking into the events of Dark Imperium and all the other stuff, and it is really kind of weird, the treatment that Calgar's got, and it's a shame. Calgar is a really good, relatively well-written character, although admittedly he has got a bit of the hint of plot armor about him. I don't know, it is a bit of a shame, but hey, what do I know? I mean, I like new Guilliman more than old Guilliman in many ways. I feel like in Devastation of Baal especially, new Guilliman really is good. I really like new Guilliman in Devastation of Baal. New Guilliman with Calgar, bit of a dick. Demon Prince Slash is undercosted at one of the best abilities, 160. Ouch. Space was getting a new codex, are there any chance for new releases? Skyclaws and Longfangs have both gone out of stock. Well, the thing is, with the Skyclaws and Longfangs, you basically, the way you would often do that is you'd buy Assault Marines and then use the spare parts from the Space Wolf pack kit to convert them up. That's quite often, I think, how it was portrayed in the 5th edition codex release when the pack kit came out, because that could build Grey Hunters, Bloodclaws, and Wolfguard. You basically just use the spares out of that to make your Devastators and Assault Marines and Bikers into Longfangs, Skyclaws, and Swiftclaws. So, maybe, but I don't know. Also Alling and the Slaughter Brute. That will do a hell of a lot of damage. I think I've faced one. I faced a Slaughter Brute. I feel like I have faced a Slaughter Brute before, but I don't remember it doing loads, just because that was the Brass Stampede thing that ran me over before it got to do anything. Here most of his whose quotes. I'm trying to remember like whose quotes. What, like Korak, Calgar's, Guilliman's, probably Guilliman's. I'm not sure. Carno Corex comes back. What do you want the team to do? Just go around, kick ass, and take names, because they're not going to be running the show. That's going to be Guilliman. There's not much more they can do with them unless they want to have some sort of weird secession angle, which I think would be really, really dumb. Because they're not going to be running the Imperium. That's going to be Guilliman. They're not the type of Primates who would be good for bureaucracy and running the Imperium Khan especially. So I'm not sure how much you could do with them aside from just bringing them back to kick ass and take names. Korn has his own version of the Slaughter Brute. Korgrath's way too small for that to count. Not sure what that is. Not sure. What would that be? What would that be? I know Zinch has the Mutalith, because that's gone into 1,000 Suns these days in 40k. What would the Korn thing be? Bloodthirsters. Not sure. I think mine is by Guilliman, because Guilliman is someone's looking 30k mindset. 10,000 years of history is a lot to take in. That's true. Like, there's a lot for Guilliman to adapt to, but as much as that's true, I forget what his justification is for treating Calgar like a dick. I can't remember. Etched? Not sure what that means. Sorry, not up on every little bit of speak. What are Clan Pestilence and Skaven like? I faced Clan Pestilence once when I was playing a Flesh Eater Courts test game, when I was sort of thinking about getting Flesh Eater Courts, and they're alright. They've got decent mortal wound output, I think is their main thing. Skaven, as far as I'm aware, you basically play a drown them in bodies game. That's always been Skaven's thing, is drown them in bodies, because even their Vermin Lords are not bonkers. They're just alright. The Screaming Bell and the Grey Seer's got decent magic, but not redonkulous. I think, yeah, like big blocks of infantry is probably the way Skaven goes, combined with some chicanery depending on what clan you're playing. Basically, kind of like he wasn't impressed with what he did with the chat. Oh! Right. So yeah, maybe just Gilliman's not keen on how Calgar's run things, ergo he's not pleased with Calgar. Right. Oh, benched. Ah, the N's missing. Right, the N is missing. Sorry. I didn't quite think there should be an N there. My bad. Benched. Yeah, okay, that's a term I understand from football. I think, yeah, that's probably fair. Yeah. Do you have a friend who plays Wolves? Yes, and if so, could we see a 30k Suns versus Wolves? No. I have a friend who plays Wolves in 40k, but has pretty much no interest in going to 30k and hates the Lehman Russ model. So, getting him to play 30k Wolves? Oh, excuse me. Never mind with Lehman Russ is just like, no, he's just not going to do it. It would be fun, but A, we'd both be rusty as all sin with that rule set. B, he's never played 30k before. C, he doesn't like his Prime Arts model. So, maybe one day, but I wouldn't rule any hopes on it. It's that he's keeping him back on safekeeping. But if he's keeping him back for safekeeping, he's really being not nice about it. Like saying, I will oversee things to make sure they are being done correctly. Like, do you not trust Calgar? If you're keeping him up for safekeeping, why wouldn't you be trusting him to, you know, run Ultramar while you were gone? So, I think it's more likely he has a problem with Calgar, though he hasn't really explicitly stated what that problem is. To my knowledge, I might have just... I've not read all of Dark Imperium. I've not read most of Dark Imperium. I know broad strokes how it goes, and I know broad strokes I know some of the quotes, but I don't know it all. Suns vs Wolves in 40k, not from me. I don't play Chaos ever, and I certainly don't play 40,000. We have a friend who has Magnus, and maybe we'll have a few thousand Sundersy bits, and one of my friends also plays Zinch Demons in AoS, but I don't think so. Maybe, but not sure. I wouldn't want to put any stock in it. Might happen. We might see Magnus against some Space Wolves, but I don't think it'll be a part of Codex 1000. I don't know. I honestly don't know. It might happen, but mine might not be around to record it. I might just not be there that day to record it, so I don't know. In all truth, I just don't know. Sorry. Oh, faction focus scrolls. Has that happened inside? Oh, that happened just before I started streaming. Okay. I'm just going to have a quick look at this off camera to see if it's worth having a look at in the main thing. I don't know if they're new. That's just a combo. Okay, so the Destruction Giant is cheaper, and all the different Troggoth troll things have also got cheaper. That's the Umbral Spell Portal, which I know about. That hasn't changed. Okay. So there's not much in there. There's nothing like really that insightful in there, but yeah. But yes, the Gobbo's got to focus. You can go and have a quick read of that if you want. There's not much there really for me to say, and certainly not for me to show it on the screen, I'm afraid. I don't know if they get their own faction tag. It's just like it focuses on. It talks about like a combo for the Moon Clan, but then it also name drops the Git mob. Talks about Arachnaroks and Squigs and Elgos like Argants. Kind of talks about everything in there. So I don't know. It doesn't really help. Corner's getting that huge ass dragon. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Is there anything I've missed? Oh, no problem. I'm always happy to stream. What is Malign Portents and is it worth getting? Right. 2 separate questions. The Malign Portents is the last mini expansion that we got for Warhammer Age of Sigmar. It allowed you to play games in a period just before AoS 2 when Nagash's grand scheme was starting to be put into place. So a lot of signs and portents are appearing across the mortal realms, and some of your characters can harness those abilities or harness those omens to do stuff. So there are certain named characters who are ridiculously good, like Lord Ordinata, the Dark Oath Queen, the Moon Clan Boss, Great Shaman, Thingamajig, and the Knight of Shrouds who get boosts for it. But you can harness the omens to do stuff. And on a lore front, it talks about what's been happening across the realms and how the different factions have responded to it. Like, why is Chaos involved in this? Why does Chaos care? What's happening with Destructors and why are they gravitating towards Shaiish? And it also introduces rules for playing in the Realm of Death, which is Shaiish. So you get tables where Shaiish does stuff. You get other like spell bonuses and things like that. Is it worth getting? Well, all the rules stuff, I expect the Shaiish rules will be overruled either through the Legions of Nagash Battle Tome, if you play with a Death Army, or will be overruled by the new Realm rules being added either in the Age of Sigmar 2 rulebook or in the General's Handbook 2018. Do you need it? No. Is it worth it? Possibly. If you think you're going to get value out of that style of games, you get some unique missions where you get to play different battle plans, you also get some unique rules and other stuff like that, then you can. And the lore's quite interesting. I've read the lore in there. I've got the book myself. It's quite interesting lore, but it's not absolutely vital. If you want to get up to date on the plot, then read it. You probably want to read Legions of Nagash as well, just to get up to date on that side of things. Maybe have a look into the Elven stuff, like the Daughters of Cain especially, and then AoS 2's lore will be completely fresh in your mind. So you'll understand what the Slanesh situation is, you'll understand what the death situation is, and then AoS 2 will fill the rest of the gaps in. We don't know what AoS 2's lore will do in terms of catching people up. So will it talk about the events of the Malign Portents? We don't know. So I think it's probably worth it if you care that much about the lore and you don't mind some of the rules being overruled, such as the rules for Shaiish. If you want to play with the Malign Portents rules, I think it's quite fun. I've done a battle report on it, and it is quite interesting, although it can screw you over. I think it's quite fun, but it's quite subjective. Any tips on teaching friends how to 40k? Mirror matches. What I actually did a teaching 40k battle report years ago, like 2.5 years ago or something. I did a teaching 40k battle report with someone who lived in my hall of residence who'd never seen the game before, but was just kind of interested to, you know, do that. So we did. And what I did is I set up an almost perfect mirror match, so we both did the same units of orcs. I gave him a vehicle, I gave him a character, I gave him something fast, I gave him something choppy, I gave him something shooty. I think I gave both sides a psyker as well. And I said, right, here's the basic things of everything that's in the game. Now we're going to have a game. I'll run you through the mechanics that go along, I'll tell you what you need to do. And that was how we did it. That worked quite well. This was in 7th edition when the game was way, way more complicated. And so that worked quite well. Or you could just do like starter box games, small scale game stuff. Yeah, just don't start huge, don't start overawing. Maybe just do like unit on unit fights, just say this is the basic mechanics of the game, then add a bit more, then a bit more, then a bit more, then a bit more, and all of a sudden you're playing 1500 points and bang, go. It depends on what you've got available to you, really. I think it's 40k last November, been recent one over AoS is lore, and now as AoS 2 is coming out, looking forward even more. No problem, I'm always happy to talk about lore. Like, have you not noticed, I do lore for a living. Like, I love talking about lore. As much as I did do AoS lore videos on the channel, I love talking about lore. So I'm more than happy to talk about it. It's no problem whatsoever. And I'm glad that AoS has won you over. I know 40k has its own mythos and its own lore, which is absolutely glorious. I should know I do it for a living. I've been doing it for like 2 years now. But AoS has its own beautiful lore and gameplay mechanics and armies, so I'm really glad that it's won you over. I'm really glad. I'm getting to that habit where I talk really, really quickly. I need to stop doing that. Yeah, 500 points, it should work. Obviously, it'll depend on what armies you have available to you, what mechanics you want to try and show off. In terms of teaching people, like, do you want to have a psyker in there? Do you want to have a vehicle in there? Do you want to have whatever? It's realistically just a case of go with what's available and what you can teach. We might have just had some lag there, I don't know. We'll see. And yeah, don't start with an Apocalypse game. And don't start with things like Imperial Knights. Just no. Please don't do that. Please don't do that. I don't want to give anybody liver failure within one stream. I really do not want to do that to people. Just no. Anything that involves drinking games and me saying something, no. Because I repeat myself a lot. Certain phrases and words I say a heck of a lot. Necrons are Grey Knights. I'd suggest if you're going to do that then, let them play with the Grey Knights. If you can't do an actual mirror of like Necrons v Necrons or Grey Knights v Grey Knights, I'd suggest letting them play the Grey Knights because they're a little bit tankier. They allows them to learn Psychic proactively rather than reactively. And you just keep vehicles like the Ghost Ark out of the game for the sake of fairness, and then you have some fun with that. I don't know. That's if you can't make a mirror match, then give them the Grey Knights. Long and short. A Storm Raven can transport most Marines from Tactical Squad to Centurions, but not Primaris. Gilliman will define what is allowed. What if you just got a Primaris to a Storm Raven would be possible? I actually have not looked into it hard enough to know whether it's... yeah. I don't know. I don't know what the actual ruling is as to why Primaris can't use, particularly like the Storm Raven and the Land Raider. It might just be for the sake of the game, as in, this is for regular dudes, this is for Primaris dudes in the game, just to stop you just like taking rhinos and stuff, and just spamming Primaris and rhinos. But I don't know, in all truth, because I haven't read the Space Marine Codex, and if it's not in the Space Marine Codex, then... sorry, I don't know. Yeah, there's some things that we just need filling out with bloody Primaris, and hopefully like some of the lore books that the Black Library put out that include Primaris will actually address like why they don't use drop pods, why they don't use rhinos, etc., etc. Use the more difficult so we can't be a chance that the lack of experience will cost them. Yeah, that's... I mean, mechanically, both Grey Knights and Necrons are not the simplest thing in the world. Necrons are probably easier, I guess. But yeah, I don't know. It's the armor. Right, I had a feeling it had to be the armor, but why would that be a problem compared to a Centurion warsuit? Apparently Thunderhawk can, but only throwing no normal Marines in it. Possibly. It's just like rhinos I understand, they're too big. Drop pods I understand, they're too big. And all the other rhino variants I understand because they're too big. But a Land Raider can carry a Terminator, can carry several Terminators. A Storm Raven can carry Centurions for flip's sake. And Centurions are bulky. Very bulky. Not saying that it would be a perfect thing. They might have to like kneel down or duck a little bit. I don't know. I forget how tall Primaris are relative to Centurions. But I think they could do it. I don't know. Maybe they can't just like strap themselves in case of an incident, whereas the Centurions are sort of protected by their armor. I don't know. Do you think Jackson Khan is coming back? No. In one word, no. Longer explanation, I just don't think he adds enough to the game, fluff-wise, to make it work. Honestly, I think adding Khan back would just be, here, let's give the Imperium a super speedy beat stick. And flavor-wise, okay, he's cool, but he doesn't do anything for the plot, because he's just there. He doesn't get involved in politics, he's just a bit of a point-click beat stick, and Guilliman would use him as such, because Khan knows his role. I don't know, I just don't think it would be successful. Retrofitting for the Mark 10. Alright. Like, I knew it would be the armor, I just don't know what the exact reason is, and maybe it is just about retrofitting. Maybe. Also, there's Primaris Marines with the white scars, shouldn't they get bigger bikes? Well, there are no Primaris bikers. That's the thing. Call his Archenland. That presumes Archenland actually designed the Astarte stuff? I don't know who did actually. And then maybe in 10 years all the Primarchs will have been brought back. I hope not. I hope not. Because at that point, it makes the Imperium and Chaos horrifically, plot-wise, only plot-wise, horrifically overpowered. Just, like, having one Primarch back for the Imperium and 2 or 3 Primarchs back for Chaos. Okay, Chaos is now a massive threat because the Primarchs are back in the galaxy and they're ripping stuff to pieces. Sure. And Guilliman's back gives the Imperium hope in this new Dark Age. You can push a new Crusade to force back the advances of Chaos and start reclaiming territory. Okay, sure. But suddenly if you have 6 or 7 on each side, at what point do you just kind of have to say, well, why would I ever not just back the Imperium or Chaos in a fight? I mean, sure, the Xenos might be able to beat back 1 Chaos Primarch or 1 Imperial Primarch. They might. They might. But realistically, the Imperium could beat anybody. If it kept the Primarchs together and went into one war zone with 2 or 3 of them, game over. Utterly game over for that war zone. Which is just no. That's just stupid. Like, I know the war for, what was it, the Battle of the Corridor Deeps happened, there were no Imperial Primarchs there and the traitor still got screwed over, but the tech has evolved now. You've got Call and you've got Chaos, the tech has changed. The Imperium would just run roughshod with a few Primarchs, and so would Chaos. And at that point you have the Horus Heresy Mark II Electric Boogaloo now in stores, but with more Magnus instead of Horus, and, well, what was the point? Like, the Ynnari might stand a chance for a bit, especially if they can reunify the entire Eldari race. They might be able to hold their own, and they've got the webways, they can just slip away and diddly-diddly-dee. But, no. The Tau, dead. Tyranids, if the Imperium can just get their arse in gear, dead. Nearly, maybe, not sure. Necrons, also sort of kind of boned. Orcs, utterly boned. Like, the Orcs were so badly smashed at Ullanor, it took them like 1,500 years to get back into a place of being a threat again. 1,500 years take a bit between Ullanor and the War of the Beast while they just rebuilt. It wouldn't be fun for the Xenos, it would just be boring. And gameplay-wise, the Primarchs would be ridiculously overpowered if you could take more than one of them. Like, Magnus and Mortarion aren't taken together for some reason, probably just because they share keywords, but, no, I don't think it could work. Consider getting the Guilliman owners directly ordering the Primaris into a vehicle. That would be a fun diorama. Are there any battalions you look for more favourably with the 2.0 changes in mind? I'd have to go reading through my Stormcast one again, just to remind myself of how they all work, so no comment, I'm afraid. Do you think Dawn will come back, and what will his thoughts be? The Imperial Fists hate them. The Crimson Fists love them. Dawn, I could see taking it either way. I don't know. As for whether he will, I think him and there's I think maybe 2 Loyalist Primarch slots that they can fill with either Dawn, Lion, or Russ. 2 of the 3. Probably Dawn and Lion, because Russ coming back at anything other than the end of everything where everything dies of the Wolf time breaks his own law. So like Lion and Dawn are the most likely of the Imperials to come back. I'm not saying they should, but of the likely ones to come back, Dawn is in there. Lose 1 in law breaks the mal of the Imperium. Yes. Kinda. Like, yeah, Gilliman dies, trouble. But imagine the morale boost if they then kill a traitor 1. So like, the greatest sorcerer of all time, the arch sorcerer, Magnus the Red, has been slain by some Primarch. I know that's not quite how demons work, but go with me on this. The morale boost would be ginormous. We can force back the greatest powers of chaos. We can do this. And yes, you have the opposite effect if a Dawn or a Russ dies, but I mean, I don't know. I just don't like it. I just don't like it, personally. I know the Crusader that many war zones took years. I know that with the legions and stuff, but it just, I don't know. I would worry about the health of the game long term if they just brought back all the Primarchs. I do worry. Like in the Crusade era, alright, fine. We know where it's going to end up. You need to fill it out. Going forward into a zone where you don't know what's going to happen, I don't know. I just don't think it would be a good idea. I know the trade ones can't really die, but look at it from an Imperial perspective. It's an Imperial, it'd be a propaganda piece. I know that, because Magnus was only banished, and Alengron was only banished, and Petrabo was, I don't think he was banished. I know they can't really die, but I just don't want it, and whether it's for plot reasons or gameplay reasons, I just don't want them all back. 1 or 2, 2 or 3 on each side, maybe 1 extra for Chaos, because Chaos, like you bring back Fulgrim and Angron, okay, that's the place to start, leave it off there, then just 1 or 2 more Imperials, and done. I don't want to see 6v6, because it just, no. Just no. Sorry, no. You're probably going to resurrect Sanguinius somehow. Please. If they do that, I'm going to be so frustrated. Like, I know they can do it. Yvrain can do it. Between Yvrain and Cole, they might be able to sod and do it. Maybe. Kinda. They might be able to weasel their way into doing it. But I'd just be so annoyed about it because it just breaks so much Blood Angel lore. Like, okay, sure, the Black Rage wasn't innately tied to Sanguinius' death because it happened on Cygnus Prime, but it would be completely lore breaking in some ways, or it certainly wouldn't reinforce the ethos of the lore around the Blood Angels. No, just leave him dead for God's sake. They can do it. I just don't think they should. Vulcan and Russ. Vulcan. I always forget Vulcan. Like, Lion is the most easy one to bring back because he's basically just taking a down nap. Russ is awkward because of his, like, speech about I will see you at the end of all things for the final battle for the Wolf time. So if he's back ever before the Wolf time, which is the end of everything, then that kind of breaks his own lore and his own speech. So yeah, I think Russ is doable, but awkward. Hello. Just one of those things, I guess. It's just one of those things where they can do it, but I just don't think they should. And there's certain things that just shouldn't happen, and that's kind of one of them. With Cole wanting to bring back the traitor legions as Primaris, what do you think will happen if he actually gets to do it, either by Guilliman's order or of his own will? Well, Guilliman won't do it, isn't going to allow it. Guilliman, even as far back as the end of the heresy, came down like a hammer on Cole's suggestion. If Cole does it, then, well, if Guilliman finds out, he's probably going to kill Cole, straight up kill him, and at that point probably kill all the traitor Primaris, or traitor seed, Primaris built out of traitor Legion Gene Seed will also be killed as a precaution. So I just think no. If he actually gets to do it, then there's going to be a lot of death. That's going to be what will happen. There's just going to be a lot of death on Cole's end. We're just having a bit of a general chat. I think most of it seems to be revolving around Primarchs at the moment. Won't be lying because he killed Guilliman. Why? Why would Lion kill Guilliman? Like the Ragnarok, many things at the end, which is to some degree was also a gigantic reset. Well, yes, but the problem is, do you see what happened the last time we had a whack-off reset? We got Age of Sigmar. Now, no. I need to really phrase that sentence carefully. Age of Sigmar is amazing. Absolutely amazing. The game is great, the fluff is great, the models are just, oh. But the backlash that AoS got about the Fantasy End Times and the whack-off reset it did, it basically, it was a massive wedge for some people. So I think GW would be extremely reticent and hesitant to do it again. I really do think that they wouldn't do it again just because of what happened with AoS. Not because AoS isn't good and because it isn't selling well because it's not popular, but because it was subject to a massive backlash. Especially now that they're listening a lot more, they might be a lot more wary of that backlash, especially with their flagship game. Yeah. If Sigma had a war council at this moment, who'd be on it? Well, if he had a brain, he'd have the twins, Malerian, possibly Marathi, Grungni will be on it. Who else? Grungni. I'm trying to think of the other races in order. The Elven gods, the Dwarven god, because Grimnir got himself killed. I think he's the human god. Who else is in? Oh, who the bloody hell else are the factions in order? Oh, Alariel. Alariel would be on it. Basically, it'd just be a council, a gods council, with maybe a couple of representatives from the other factions. So, the Caradron might send their own emissary. The Ideneth would not go anywhere near it because Teclis would be there. Yeah. Get them down like a hammer, like a centurion against a piece of plywood. Yeah, utter annihilation. AoS was doing stuff in the very section, giving the response to End Times. I know. AoS was doomed to get that response, but it sucks that it happened, and that is why I think they'll be so hesitant to do it again. Why did that make Call the Fabricator General? All I'm going to say is watch this space. Watch this space. There's a couple of there's actually some personal reasons and some enshrined in lore AW reasons, as in LAW, not lore as in fluff, as in lore as in the lore of the land. Reasons why. Lion Gilliman hated to the Lion was hardline against the Imperial Secundus, and after the Scaring Gilliman took command of the other Primates, he's done more so now. He did everything Lions told him not to and more. Well, Gilliman didn't want to rule Imperium Secundus either. He tried to give the job to Lion, and then Sanguinius turned up and made the job. Fine. Gilliman becoming Lord Commander probably would piss Lion off, but he'd also... Lion's a pragmatist. Lion is an absolute proper pragmatist. He'd be like, right, the Emperor is basically out of the picture now, and it's all gone to hell in a handbasket. The Imperium needs leadership. I don't like the fact that Gilliman's doing it, but I don't think he'd actually go out of his way to kill Gilliman He'd just be like, you need a council around you, let me help. Or more accurately, let me help, or you do not rely on the Dark Angels anymore. And so on. I think he'd be very reticent and very annoyed about it, but he'd realise as well, because he's so pragmatic, this is how it has to be because we have no other options in this moment. But he might say together, right, when the dust settles, once we've got everything stabilised, once your crusade is over, and whatever, you take a step back, Mother Trucker, and we'll pass it back to the civilians again. And we won't be in direct command. We'll go back to doing what we used to do. But I don't think Lion would kill Guilliman because he'd realise what Guilliman means right now. Like, why would you start another civil war because you're annoyed that your brother's in command? Glad you enjoyed the lore videos. It's Lion L. Johnson, not Leon. Leon would probably be a bit more of the French way of saying it, or Leon. No, it's the Leon. Oh crap, I forget. Guilliman don't make all Fabricator General because the rest of Mechanicum hates him, has no authority. That is correct. I wasn't going to give it away, but yes, that's why. Guilliman, because of the Treaty of Mars, the Imperium has no direct authority over the Mechanicum, or the Mechanicus as it is these days. Therefore, Guilliman is not legally allowed by the Treaty of Mars to appoint the Fabricator General. It has to be done by the Mechanicus themselves. And the Mechanicum, as a rule, because of Cole's progressive nature, absolutely despise the guy. They really hate him and his work. They hate it. So the Mechanicus are never going to elect him. Guilliman's not allowed, so that's primarily why. And he knew that it would start like a massive shitstorm with the Mechanicum if he ever did elect him. So yeah, that's why. It's twofold. He's not allowed. It is because of Cole's standing, but also because of the Treaty of Mars. Yes, I have met, well, I've not met Lion, but I do know how Lion is as a person, and he is a bit of an arsehole. Actually, correction, he's a massive lot of an arsehole. Enough to start a civil war within his father's empire? I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Lion is that much of a dick, but he's not that much of an idiot. If that makes sense. I know you want to put that in quotation marks. Lion is very... if I go back to I'll go back to my Dark Angel script to give myself a point of reference here. Just to remind myself what I wrote about Lion, just to catch myself up and remind myself. Just trying to catch myself up about his character. Yeah, not particularly good with people. Yeah. Lion wasn't great with people. But he's an exceptionally good strategist. He's not an idiot. Yeah, I don't know. I personally have a bit more faith in Lion than that, but I could see him doing it. Maybe. Oop. There we go. My theory is he was jealous of Guilliman's superior tactical and strategic knowledge. He was one of the best though, which is why Lion needed to why Horus needed to distract him, same as Guilliman. Isn't the loyalist to stop him and Guilliman fighting every 5 minutes, and Lion is a better strategist. Agreed. So Lion becomes War Master, Guilliman oversees the civilian side. Fair deal. They might bicker a lot. Well, bicker a hell of a lot. But I don't know. I feel it could be done. And I certainly don't think Lion would kill him. Like, they might just need to have a bit of a Russ and Lion moment where they had a massive fight, just to sort of say, look, get it out of your system, come and have a go, let's just fight this out, and then we'll call it square and we'll just put it to bed. They might do that, but I feel like they'd actually make it work for the good of the Imperium, even if they bickered like crazy. Lionel Johnson lore nerd. Well, that's fair enough. I know quite a lot of lore, but I do know some things not so. And stuff I did like the best part of a year ago, I have forgotten. Like, I know the basics of like Lion's character, but I don't remember all the details. It's that sort of thing. That's the sort of problem I have at the minute. It's like I know relatively well what the situation is with like characters and events and stuff, but I don't remember all the nitty-gritty details. They might bicker a lot is an understatement. That's valid. That's fine. They would bicker a lot about different things, like how to organise things and stuff like that. Like Lion might decide, you know what, I don't like this Dante bloke. I'm putting Azrael in charge of Imperium Secundus. I don't bloody know. So I think it would just be one of those things we'd have to see it. And it would be a fun little theory craft, like what happens if X or Y concerns. But I don't want to, like, yeah, I don't know. It is an awkward one. There's no right and wrong answer. It's just thought process, really, and what conclusions you come to off that thought process, which is the joy of theorizing. I think they'd have enough common sense to leave each other's legions alone. Like, Guilliman might get annoyed about the Legion building, but he's certainly not going to get in Lion's way if they go and conquer half the bloody galaxy again. I think the next round we're going to get, I think we'll get Fulgrim in summer. We'll get Fulgrim as part of the Summer of Slanesh. After that, I don't know. Someone tried to control someone else's Legion. Actually, I think Guilliman did. Actually, you're right. Guilliman, I think, probably did try and boss the Dark Angels around a bit, if I remember correctly. I think the Dark Angel, or was it the other way around? Oh bollocks! How did it work? Was Guilliman bossing around the Dark Angel? No, the Dark Angels were doing a bunch of like when Kurz turned up on Macragge. The Dark Angels basically imposed martial law. So were they the ones bossing the Ultramarines around? Oh Christ! I can't remember. Guilliman is in charge of the Imperium. Calgary is effectively, as I said in my lore video, Guilliman is charge of the chapter mass, is Primarch, but yeah. Get it out of their system, but there'll probably be some mistrust. Yeah, maybe. Which is the more I like to learn most about? Haish, actually. Because Akshi's had plenty of lore with Khorne. Shaman we've had a bit of a look at with Tzeentch. Gairin we've had a plenty look at between the Sylvaneth and Nurgle. Shaiish we've had plenty of a look at with Nagash. Ulgu we've started to have a look into with Marathi. Azir we don't know jack all about, but I don't care. Gur I also don't care. Whereas Haish is the domain of Tyrion and Teclis. So if we had no Elven lore, I'd want probably Ulgu and Haish, but now I've had a bit of lore on Ulgu thanks to Marathi, I want to know about Haish. The Legion's got on better than the Primarchs. That's probably true across a lot of Legions. That probably happened a lot with many, many legions. The Dark Angels tried to boss the Ultramarines around, they need to find a good place to hide. Fair, I do need... When I get around to doing Azrael and Champions of Humanity, I know basically nothing about Azrael. Like, I know so damn little about Azrael. So I'll be quite curious to actually have a look into all that stuff, and how he operates with various people. Because I know obviously him and Logan Grimnar don't exactly get on famously, for obvious reasons, Dark Angel, Space Wolves, trouble. But yeah. Not sure. Anyway, I'm just going to take a break for 2 minutes, just get a drink and get a snack. I'll be right back. Just want to get a quick break, and then I'll rejoin you in a minute or 3, or maybe 5. We'll see how we go. Right, and we're back. Just wanted to get a drink, get some snack, and get back. And yes, I did get a drink. I didn't just go fact-checking the person who said so. It's absolutely not fact-checking, right? You think I could fact-check everything I need to know to continue this discourse in 5 minutes? Really? There's so much like information like bouncing around different links and books, and just no way I could fact-check anything in that time. Lore and Primaris is somewhat meh, but I do like the models. The lore of the Primaris is somewhat not there, I think is the phrase you're looking for. The lore is interesting enough, but there's just not enough of it. So they come across probably quite meh because there's just not enough plot, which they are starting to fix. But they are nice models. I do like their armor. I really do like their armor. It's taking the bits from Mark IV, Mark II, Mark 8. It's a really, really nice design. We're becoming non-chapter masters in Champions of Humanity. Yes. What would you like to think the next AoS Underworlds will be set with what warbands? Well, Underworlds kind of only works in Shaiish. Plus, like, Shadespire is proving to be insanely popular as is. So I think they'll probably try to get every race into Shadespire, a la like they would with Necromunda or whatever. So I personally don't think we're going to see a new underworld that they'll go to, because Shadespire's got very special lore attached to it as the City of Glass and the tricks and things around it. There's Primaris to counter trade to Primaris, if that makes sense. There's a 10,000-year delay on delivery. Well, the other reason for the delay was because it was Gilliman's project. And you kind of probably needed Gilliman to sign off on it, but Gilliman was kind of dead. So what is the best way to paint eyes on models? You're asking the wrong person. I don't paint flesh, pretty much ever. I certainly am no good at painting faces. Like, when I do my, whatever my next faction is, I'll be using as many helmets as I can get my hands on, because I don't like painting faces. I really don't. So like, knee flat talent, got a face on. Got a helmet on instead of a normal head. My Gabriel Shawheart actually converted and kit bashed to put a helmet on. So I'm the wrong person to ask, I'm afraid. Shadespire got moved? Wait, that? Wait, what? What? That's right. I missed that one. Was that in Legions of Nagash that happened? I've not heard of that one, I'm afraid. That little story's gone past me. But yes, when in doubt, Warhammer TV. It got moved between the realm of light and shadow. I thought it was in Shaiish, the realm of death. Hang on. Now, I've not looked hard into Shadespire, but I thought that thing was in Shaiish, not Ulgu. Shadespire location. No, I don't want the game, I want the bloody lore. Shadespire was a city of wonder in the realm of rising from the realms of death. Yep. Oh, trapped it halfway between Ulgu and Haish. Right. I did not know that. Sorry. I missed that one. My bad. Do you think a film company like Paramount or DreamWorks made a Warhammer movie, if they saw profit in it and could get good writers? Like, that's the thing with a 40k movie. It lives and dies on two things. One is the writing, and two is the either CG animation / costume design. It would be a CG movie pretty much throughout. So like the quality, it would need to be really good, high quality animation, which I know someone like DreamWorks could do, but their art style, the art style of a lot of their stuff maybe doesn't suit. But then the writing has to be absolutely stellar, and the only way they're going to get that is to hire pretty much somebody from Black Library. That assumes GW doesn't have a license, and GW doesn't have like a huge amount of oversight. But you'd have to have somebody from Black Library overseeing the project as the writer, and just make sure that the aesthetic is right, that the vision is correct. I don't know. Like, could they do it? Yes. Should they do it? Not sure. Shadespire is not hanging out with Slanesh, although it's in a sort of same concept of being trapped between Holgu and Haish. I've heard a lot about about Event Horizon. I've never watched it, in all truth. I've never watched Event Horizon. I know it exists. I've heard the name loads of times, but I've never actually watched it. Evening. A couple of arrivals, actually. We'll see if Warhammer Adventures works as a book first. I hope it does, but one step at a time. Let's make sure the material works as a book before you even try and put it into a film. One step at a time. Not a fan. Could be good. Emphasis on could. Yeah. It's one of those things that could be really, really good if handled correctly. It would require a really solid writing team on the tiller directing the writing. But it could still suck. Like, it needs a really good art style, and it needs a really good writing team. Before anything else, you need a good writing team, a good art style, and then you need the right actors or voice actors. That is just, you really need the right team. It would be very difficult. It would be doable. It's very doable, but they'd have to do it carefully to make it work. When you warp jump without Gellerfield. When you warp jump without Gellerfield, you flipping die. Give or take. Why would it featuring the Ultramarines make it a bore fest? Yes, the Ultramarines can be badly written. Yes, the Ultramarines can be boring. But that's on the writing. And just the writing. There's absolutely no reason that they are innately boring. They just have to be written correctly with the right amount of tact and a bit of flavour to them. Like, Gilliman has a lot of flavour to them nowadays. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to suck. It might be better written with another chapter, because you get a different look into the universe. Like, I personally wouldn't do the Black Templars, but maybe. We'll see. They're not an antidote to fun. The Ultramarines have some good characters, sure a bit plot armory in places, Koth Kalgar, but they're interesting characters. Like Tigurius is an interesting character. Cassius is an interesting character. Telian is a fascinating character. There's some really good characters. And that's just the big guys. In some of the books, like, oh, what is it? Plagues of Wrath, great book. Damnos, decent book. The Ultramarines can be well written. It's not them that's the problem. It's if they're not well written that's the problem. And that's the same with all of them. If you write the Blood Angels and just write them really badly, then you just get bored. You've got to play up the strengths of the guys and their weaknesses and just balance it all off. You've just got to mix it up a bit. How dare you say that? I've just done a lore video on Calgar. He's got a bit of plot armor. He's got a bit of plot armor. I'm sorry. Should there be a proper skirmish mode? There is that new Kill Team remake and Shadespire exists. So, yeah. It can be done. Ultramarines in a bunch of non-Ultramarines. There's a lot of good possible stories. You could play it off with the Ultramarine successors and how they slightly differently interpret the Codex and something like that. Yeah, maybe. 30k Ultramarines are mostly pretty cool. I prefer new Guilliman to old Guilliman. In some ways, he's just got more personality. But like Remus Ventanus, Marius Gage, and Ethiel are very cool characters. Well, that's your opinion. Personally, I think good writing is more important than the aesthetic choice and the character profile. Like, I feel like there's plenty of scope to make the Ultramarines interesting. And if you write the Blood Angels badly, then you're just making a vampire movie. Like, it's a vampire movie with more ultra-violence if you play it badly. That's how bad a Blood Angels movie could be. It could just be, you know, ultra-violence, vampire angst, super dark, depressing futures. So you just put Twilight in the 40k universe. Like, no thank you. The Ultramarines at least have a chance to be interesting if they're well written. The Blood Angels, if they're badly written, are still bad. It's all in the writing. The Gauntlets of Ultramar are in no better hands apart from on Guilliman's. Yeah. What do you think of an AoS Necromunda and a 40k Shadespire? I don't particularly play the specialist games. That's my thing. I've never really played them. Like, I want to give Blood Bowl a go. I want to give Shadespire a go. I don't really care about Necromunda, but I don't know. I think it'd be fun. I don't know if I'd play them, but it'd be fun. Or is Heresy Ultramarines like a great movie like Calth Visibly Going to Hell? Like, yeah, Calth. That's a disaster movie with some badass heroes like Enithiel, Remus Ventanus, and Marius Gage. There you go. That would work. And that's Ultramarines being badass. Well, what do I need to say? Blood Angels versus World Eaters. The risk with doing Blood Angels versus World Eaters. Here's the catch. Also, I noticed you did the emoji, so I'm going to do it right back. Here's the catch. If you do Blood Angels versus World Eaters and you handle it badly, you basically just have two sides who are completely indistinguishable. Also, I know I'm kind of doing a John Cena. So you've got super violent good guys who really like blood, and super violent bad guys who really like blood and just look a bit different. And sure, you could do something interesting there with the whole like we're not so different, you and I, and the whole that whole trope. And like we saw with Cabana and the Knights of Blood on Baal Primus. There's some fun that could be had there, but you've got to handle it correctly. You've got to play up the noble aspects of the Blood Angels and how they try and keep themselves in check, and you have the Death Company and shows what happens when they let go. You have the worldies being unrestrained savages, completely lost to the nails. You have to play up the differences between the two in order for them not just to blend into one another as red-armoured, bloodthirsty murder machines. It's got to be well written. I keep coming back to this point. You'd have to write them well. Badly written Blood Angels versus World Eaters would suck. Actually, Blood Angels versus... Oh, actually, anybody versus anybody in the 40k universe badly written would suck. Bad writing would kill the movie. Good writing with slightly awkward characters is savable. Bad writing is not savable. Yeah, More Time did get discontinued, but it works as a theory, but it was fantasy. I think AoS would work better because it has no limits. I mean, yes, I think they could do something very interesting, but the baseline of the universe, like, not all the races are well fleshed out yet. So, like, we know bits about the Free Peoples and bits about the Duardin and some of the elves we know about, but we don't know about all of them. So we might not have enough yet to base a story in that universe. Salamanders versus Wordbearers. Burning the heretics. Interesting. Yeah, it'd be... And again, you come back to the point. Well written. That's the whole primary point. If it's not well written, it sucks. It has to be well written. Written in some form like Blood Bowl, Necromunda, Titanic. I think More Time might not, because Shadespire exists. Like, Shadespire has proved to be immensely popular, and it's kind of like the spiritual successor, even though it's completely different. I feel like Shadespire is going to be the one who only gets pushed for AoS for ages, whereas Necromunda, Titanicus, Blood Bowl, More Time might come back. I mean, actually, isn't that like a More Time game being worked on? Hang on a minute. I'm sure I saw something about like a... Maybe not a More Time game, but something that reminded me of More Time. Hang on, give me a sec. Give me a second. It's not in that article. Where was it? I saw this. I saw this thing about it, and I can't bloody remember where and when. Oh, it's going to bother me if I can't find it. I saw something about a new Warhammer video game. Crap, I can't find it. Crap. Never mind. Alien references, we've seen that 100 times. Make it better because there's less thought to keep talking. Yes, but is there enough to work from? Is the alternate problem. There's not too much that it becomes convoluted and messy, but it's not. Is there enough for them to work from as a solid basis that everything makes sense? That's the risk. Sisters of Battle, Sisters of Silence. Yeah. Vermintide also exists. No, it was something else. It wasn't Vermintide. It looked like a third person, not so action. 2015. Ah, right, okay. I could have sworn I saw something more recently about it, about something like that. I honestly don't know. Ultramarine movie versus Spaceman game. The game is so much better written, therefore it's better. Also, it's a video game, that helps. But the plot of the video game, whilst it does slightly stretch into the absurd in places, generally does fit within the bounds of reality. Some of the stuff you do in the game is a little bit BS, like the whole Gorguts fight. Not Gorguts. Oh, what's his bloody name? Grimskull. Grimskull. The whole Grimskull boss fight is a little bit absurd, like the amount of crap Titus can do, and the fact that you seem to be the only one capable of doing anything, but then you're the other Space Marines on the planet. So I honestly think that Space Marine is just, the plot makes more sense. Yeah. Vermintide 2's been out for a while now. I've seen it played several times. Vermintide 2's been out for a while. Armor Inquisitor something. Oh, I think it's a Witch Hunter game or something like that. I know Inquisitor Martyr is about to come out, or is just out. Inquisitor Martyr's not far off, but I could have sworn I saw something like with a Witch Hunter and a Bright Wizard. Christ, I can't remember. I'm not a fan of the word bearers personally. I don't like Lorgar. I don't like Erebus. I don't like Corferin. I'm not saying they're badly written. I'm just saying I don't like them as characters because they're designed to be written as characters you're supposed to hate. Quiztomata is the Diablo style game. That would help if I played Diablo. But yeah, I suppose so. First Heretic is a good book. It doesn't mean I'm going to love the word bearers. Yes, the Inquisitor one, yes. I don't know, I feel like I remember seeing something, but I can't remember what it bloody was. It's gonna drive me nuts now until I find it. I thought it was in the bloody UK Games Expo. Is it this? No, it's not that. Why can I not find the thing? Never mind. Alright, leave it. It's just going to drive me nuts if I don't. New Warhammer Fantasy Diablo style game. Yeah! That's the one I'm thinking of. Takes place during the end times. Yeah, that. That's what it is, that. Love the Wordbearers, like Lorgar, hate Corferin, hate Erebus, then again really like the Lions, so eh. I don't like Lorgar just because I just find him a bit pathetic. But, yeah. Chaos Bane! Chaos Bane! That's it. Bollocks, I couldn't remember. Thank you chat. Thank you chat. Alternos or Morathi? Morathi is the better model, personally. As for lore, I want to say Morathi just because Morathi's got more and it's like more interesting, but then Morathi kind of screwed Volturnos over with the whole Mask of Slaanesh business. God, that was bloody weird. It's like, I really like, yet I also utterly despise Morathi. She's I'm trying to think of a good analogy for a character that you love but you also hate. Yeah. What do you think they'll do with the new High Elves? Well, they've been described in the Daughters of Cain book as beings of pure light, I think. Hang on. How is it described? This is why I keep my books on hand. In Haish were born beings of light and angelic creatures of reason. So there you go. That's what they call them. So beings of light, angelic figures. So that's what the whole light elves are going to be. That's why I don't call them high elves. I call them light elves rather than high elves because for that reason. On table, it's Morathi all the way. Yeah. Yeah, well, Morathi costs like twice as much as Volturnos, so it's no surprise. Yeah, AoS is going really strong. I mean, just from our community, like this channel's community, I know AoS is, while some people love to just shout at it, it's alive and well and going strong. And the hype for AoS 2, while some people are content to burn it, it's great. It really is going really well. It's not a dead game, not even close. It might be dead in certain places with certain people, but the game itself is healthy as hell. Dawn of War. I've never played Ultimate Apocalypse because I never played Soulstorm. I played Dark Crusade. I've played a lot of Dark Crusade. We'll see. Dawn Dawn of War 3, good game while it lasted. Dawn of War 3 is just eh. Do you think they'll be like... Well, actually, I don't know if it was for Dawn of War 3, but it certainly didn't go over or got a really bad start and was kind of buried from there. Do you think they'll have the demon keyword? Ooh. I'm going with no. I'm going to go with them not having the celestial keyword just because the other elves don't. They're still, at the end of the day, being shaped from the souls of the elves rescued from Slanesh. So if the Ideneth don't have it, if the Daughters of Cain don't have it, and especially if Marathi doesn't have it, I'm going... Actually, she doesn't have the demon keyword, does she? Just remind myself of not being a moron here. No, she doesn't. So yeah. I don't think so. It would be fun, but no, I don't think so. And yeah, they are. They're doing the whole thing with Lord of the Rings, aren't they? Honestly, I truly thought Lord of the Rings was dead. Like, they just... I know The Hobbit just gets periodic bits and bobs, so like, I knew it wasn't completely extinct, but I just didn't expect it was popular enough for them to really do much with, apart from the fact of we've got this license, we kind of should use it. But okay, yeah, if it's strong enough people still play it, I think then yeah, support it. Fair dues. AoS needed to happen. Fantasy wasn't sustainable in its previous state. It certainly wasn't in a great place. Like, it might have been able to keep going. It might have been able to get a burst of life, but I don't think it was super sustainable. I think it would have died eventually. They just killed it a little bit quicker to save it the slow inevitable death. Gave it a quick death and gave us AoS. Beings of light and memory. I mean, yeah. Kinda. Like, if they had the celestial keyword, I'm not going to complain. I'm not going to complain if they have celestial. I just think it sets a weird precedent for them to do that with a single elf faction, but not all of them. That's all I'm going to say about it. Like, they could do it, I'm not going to have a problem with it. That's not the precedent that's been set. I think a lot of people buy Lord of the Rings to have as like a mantelpiece decoration. Maybe. I don't know. I honestly don't know. Like, Lord of the Rings has been utterly dead in my area for like 10 or so years. Like, I don't think I've ever seen it played. I don't think I've ever seen The Hobbit played at GW, either here in Grenoble or back at Manchester, or when there was a GW more locally. I never remember seeing that game get played. So around me, it's always been very, very dead. But I'm not going to say it is completely dead, because obviously they're still supporting it and they're pushing it again. So what do I know? Time are we on? 20 to 10. Okay. Stormcast don't have it? Does Stormcast not have it? Hang on. I thought Stormcast did have it. Or some of them did. I feel like they do. Well, to be fair, the Stormcast have the Celestial keyword. They do. Or at least according to the Stormcast battle term, they do. So, yeah, Celestial, 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 basic dudes, Celestial. Stormcast have Celestial. So, well, the actual Stormcast Eternals themselves have Celestial. I don't know about the beasts, like Aetherwings. Oh no, the Aetherwings have Celestial as well. So, having Celestial in an army in order is not out of the realms of possibility. Just because Daughters and Ideneth don't is why I don't think the Light Elves will. My great uncle has the Fellowship in Metal still painted on display from back when another relative worked for GW. That's impressive. That's pretty impressive. Some of the models are pretty nice. I won't lie, the models are nice. It's just, I don't think the game was ever popular enough. Any advice against Tzeentch demons? Get into melee as fast as you can. Is probably the best I can say. Battle Rogue. Demon Prince. Maybe. Maybe, maybe, maybe. Alright, I'm going to give you now your 15-ish minute warning. So at 10 o'clock EU or 9 PM UK or whatever time it is in your neck of the woods, in about 15 minutes we're going to wrap up the stream. So any last questions or topics for discussion, bring them up now. We'll give you plenty of time and we'll discuss everything like that. And then we'll call it a stream. That seems eminently fair to me. About 2 hours is about right. Don't get bogged down by horrors. Yeah, that's very true. Skyfires are so powerful that I think some of the shooting nerfs are to do with Skyfires. I think it's the can't shoot out of combat nerf was designed specifically at Skyfires. At least that's what I've heard, or it's partly about Skyfires. When am I going to be back to England? End of June. So my last resit that I can do is the 26th of June, and my contract with my residence and my insurance expires on the 30th of June. So that's my sort of window. That is quite amusing. Ow. Need that game in PCs I can rain hell from above with titans, nukes, and thousands of soldiers. Yeah. Favorite cavalry? Oh. I have a real soft spot for Blood Knights, but I know they need a lot of buffs to be really powerful. Dracoth cavalry are amazing but expensive. Vanguard Paladors are getting buffed by the new changes and reasonably interesting. Juggernauts are cool. Seekers are pretty cool, actually, to be fair. I think purely on aesthetics, I've always had a soft spot for the Blood Knights, even though I know their models are terrible, so I'd use Dragon Princes for them, if I was able to convert them. But gameplay-wise, I only really know Dracoth Cavalry and Juggernauts, and Dracoth Cavalry would make an absolute mess out of... Oh, Chaos Knights. No, Chaos Knights need a huge amount of buffs to work. Shh! Spoilers! Fine. I've fiddled around with the volume. It's serviceable now. It's serviceable. It is coming out tomorrow. So there is a video coming out tomorrow, and it's a very special video. I won't say anything more here because spoilers. But 4 o'clock or 3 o'clock UK tomorrow. Make sure you're around. Maybe even turn that little bell on, because there's a very fun video coming out, and I do hope you do all enjoy it, because it was a real pleasure to make. It's something I hope to make many, many more times in the future, but I'm not going to talk about it anymore now because, well, lol, spoilers. Catches up about shush spoilers and then immediately retracts the message. Ah, glorious. Chat delay. What's your opinion on showing up with a painted army? Does only see your opponent put up an unpainted army? As long as I'm not doing a battle report, I don't much care. I don't mind if people haven't had time to paint their models or are not painters in particular. I don't mind. I prefer painted armies. They look cooler, it allows you to have more of an aesthetic, you can do like flavorful things with the paint scheme. So I prefer it if armies are painted, but I'm not gonna refuse to play someone or slam someone for not painting their army, because I wouldn't be able to play against half my friendship group. James. Especially James. If not painted was such a huge deal. So, yeah. It's not a big deal to me unless I'm battle reporting, at which point I much prefer your army with painted if I was doing a battle report. What are the Eel Riders? Oh, the Achelians are cool. I think I took a while to get used to the Eel Riders. I like them, but I haven't played with or against them. Yeah. Short answer, Alexis has parted ways with the Adeptus Podcastus. She's not going to be joining us as host anymore. Remley's very briefly mentioned it at the start of the show last time, but she has left the podcast. She left a statement in the comments just to do with disagreements, and I'm not going to... It's not my place to go into long-winded explanations because I don't want to put words in people's mouths. I don't want to misconstrue a statement. I don't want to mislead. But she's left, and we're sorry to see her go, and she's welcome back as a guest or a host should she change her mind. The door is open, and yeah, I'm not going to have a long discussion about it. Not because it's not worth talking about, just because I don't want to put words in people's mouths. Really. My opponent brought around painted chaos armies, was too lazy to build and paint. I felt a bit disappointed. Like, it can be a bit of a disappointment. If you're going into a gaming store to just find a random opponent, then it can be a bit of a shame. But if you're playing with your friends and you know what they're like, then that's one thing. But if you go into a gaming store for a throw-together match, you kind of would hope they'd be painted. Or at the very least, like, undercoated with, like, quick notes of, like, this is what's what. Like, even if it's, like, super basics. Yeah. I don't know. It's personal preference really as to whether you think... I think an army should be painted. Like, that's why I paint all my stuff, even if I'm not that good at painting. But I know not everybody likes doing it. So I'm not going to hold it against them unless I've told them, I'm doing a battle report. If you've got a painted army, bring it. And they don't, then I'm going to have a problem with you. Just a minor one, just like, why couldn't you have just brought the painted one, please? Because, yeah. Or whatever. And there's a reason why tournaments demand painted armies. Don't they? I think tournaments demand painted armies. I mean, most of them do, I'd expect. Also, that person may have been that guy. Okay. I can understand in that scenario why you were disappointed. I can. I get it. I do get it. It's not the way I feel generally, but I get it. Also, yes, thank you, 10-minute warning. I'm vaguely clock watching, but obviously I'm not clock watching because that means I'm just running down the clock and why don't want to just end the stream. But yeah, I'm vaguely aware of the passing of time. But thank you for reminding everybody. Wi-Fi might lock out. Okay, well that's fair enough. We haven't really decided what we're going to do regarding hosting going forward. Like, at the moment, we're getting guests. We're getting a lot of guests. So we've spoken to some people. We've got a guest confirmed for the next podcast, though I won't spoil who that is for obvious reasons. We're speaking to some other people, but in terms of permanently setting up a new host or whatever, there's no plan. There hasn't been a plan made. That's all I'll say. Because, well, there hasn't. So, again, I wouldn't want to assume anything. I don't know if Remlays is setting something up and just hasn't come to me until they get something more solid. I don't know. But there's no plan as far as I'm aware. That guy wasn't as big a problem 20 years ago. Valid. If prices are steep, right? If it takes time to buy your paints because it's so expensive, that's fine. Like, that's just the way it is. But you're at least trying to paint your models. Like, you can just like buy a white paint and base coat them, then buy a wash them, and then you can add the details later. It's a start. usually fully painted and based. Yeah, I expected that was the tournament rule. Like, I wouldn't expect ever that a tourney would not force that, because it stops people just buying quick, and yeah. Please be Carl. Like I say, I'm not going to spoil who the next host, oh sorry, who the next guest is. I'm not going to spoil it. I have to bring extra warriors they don't allow. Oof, ouch. That is harsh. Conversions. I think GW tournaments definitely don't allow you to bring third party. Conversions I can't see being an issue as long as they're WYSIWYG. So like a conversion where what you see is what you get is fine. Like if they're converted to be like axe wielding when you then proxy them as having halberds, there's a problem there. But yeah, I think if they're WYSIWYG, I wouldn't personally have a problem with it, as long as I could tell what they were at a glance. Yeah, washes are the best thing. Washes are the best thing. Like, when you start washing models for the first time and you realise what a difference it makes, it allows you to highlight more effectively, it is a revolution to you. Or it's a revelation. It's a revelation to you and a revolution in your painting. See what I did there? To be fair, I botched it the first time, then had to do it again to fix it. So yeah. Conversion's best to ask. Yeah, that's very fair. No, there's liquid talent. Yeah, you look a lot better than you are if you're good at doing washes. I can't argue with that. You can just make models look much better. Yeah. I personally have never done the dip thing because a pot isn't wide enough for you to dip a model in. And I've never used wood stainer. Tournament pack, fair enough. Shields from a chest set. Oh, that's interesting. But then again, they still look like shields. It's like, a shield is a shield. If your model has a weird looking shield, but it's still obviously a shield, then why would they have a problem with you having a slightly weird looking shield? Finish Blood Rise, I really don't like how they look, how I did, so I might strip them down. It took about a month though. If you think you can be fussed to... If the way they look now is so bothersome that you cannot use them or tolerate the way they look, and you think you will willingly put the time in to repaint them, if you think you will have and make the time and take the time, then by all means repaint them. But I will have to redo my Daughters of Cain because they look awful. But other than that, I might just need to strip my witch elves and do them again. But I'm not going to do that with most of my stuff. I'm just going to repaint over it. My Daughters of Cain needs to be super careful. Yeah, that doesn't sound good. Okay, nobody's saying you have to use washes, it's just washes do make your life easier. I need to strip my old pre-homebrew models. Yeah. I'm assuming that's on the Blood Warriors? That's what that's about? I'm assuming that's about the Blood Warriors. Alright, so I'll keep an eye on the chat as the last few messages come in, but that's pretty much going to be the stream. Coming on 10 o'clock now, so I'm going to pretty much call it a night. So, I do hope you've all enjoyed the stream. Wires. I do hope you've all enjoyed the stream. It's been a real pleasure to come out and have a conversation and just to talk about some topics that are really awkward to discuss in like videos or text format. But something you can really discuss at length like this. I really have enjoyed doing this stream. There's been a lot of good topics of conversation, some really good alternate opinions and ideas, bouncing stuff off of each other. And that's what I love about doing streams. It's why I really do like talking directly to you guys, because it is so useful for just bouncing ideas off and getting ideas in and stuff like that. Admittedly, when it's like this and not like a group voice conversation, it's not as easy, but I really do enjoy doing videos of this. So I'll be back streaming next week. I don't know quite what day. I'm thinking probably Tuesday? Probably Tuesday. I'm going to have another stream. Probably same time as usual. I usually try and stream like Tuesday and Sunday, because that way I can podcast Fridays and do other stuff. But anyway, I'm sure I'll be across everything as needs be. And I will see you all very, very soon. And make sure you tune in tomorrow, because as it says down there, this community is great, and I've got a video that's going to damn well prove it. Because, tomorrow's video, I tell you what, it was the most strenuous edit I've ever done. I was up until, admittedly there was a lot of just chatting crap in voice chat after we did the video, but it was 2 AM when I finally got that edit done. It was 2 AM. We recorded it at 10 until 11, and then I finished it at 2. It was a strenuous project, but I really hope you enjoy it. I look forward to seeing everybody's reaction to it tomorrow. So, thank you very much for watching, guys. This has been Tactica Imperialis with another live stream, and I will see you all very, very soon. Make sure you tune in tomorrow. Thank you very much. And good night.